Good morning, folks. About to head out for a ride. I'm just going to do a brief introduction here. I'm also going to ride with a route today, and that's going to be a separate video about routes and how to follow them and how to set them up. But just a quick intro, and before I forget, just as I was walking out the door, I got an email from the fellow who agreed to kind of try to repair people's fit files for them. So if you watched the video yesterday and you got towards the end and saw the information that there was no GPS track on my ride yesterday, he responded back that he put it into the repair tool, and there was basically nothing there. There were only a few GPS data points at the beginning of the ride, which would explain basically the little dot in my driveway, but there was nothing else, so that's a bit of a bummer. But about to head out. It's a little warmer today, a little slightly less breezy. We're actually expecting up to a foot of snow here on Tuesday, which is another bummer. But so I'm gonna get in a ride today while I can. So I'll report back when I get back. Hey folks, so back from the ride. I'm recording two videos at once today. One is going to be about basically just routing in general. This is the summary to, I guess, what we're calling Ride 5. So I'm back. I'm about to hit the button. I'm going to pause the Garmin. The Garmin says 24.1 miles. An hour 32, but that's moving time, I believe, and not total time. The Karoo is reporting total time. So all these numbers actually look pretty good. The average speed, where I was pointing to yesterday and just saying that, average speed looks pretty good. Ride time seems accurate. I can't remember when I left, so I'm not entirely sure. Oh, second, that was a little stutter step there. This is not going to be very interesting because I'm not moving. Total time, distance 24.9 here. That's just the power over the course. Again, elevation is weird. 50. It's actually worse today. 53 feet below sea level. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, but other than the fact that they know it's in beta, so I'm not going to kill them for it. So this is something that probably won't show in the in the routes video, but it did say destination reached when I got to the end of my route, which is good. The only thing I guess bad is that if you didn't notice this or you weren't on this screen and you were unfamiliar with where you were supposed to end and you went past it, it wouldn't route me back. So as I rode away from the end point of the ride, it just kept saying destination reach. It never reached. I guess maybe there's a distance away that you would get and it would start routing you back. I don't know. Or if you pass the destination and you keep riding, then that's the end. But it did do, in a brief summary, it did do a good job routing. It did a good job when I got off course, sending me back. There was one instance where it just said rerouting, but I was off a road. I was in a parking lot that wasn't actually a physical road as shown on the map. You can see the gray line here that does look like the track was there. But this is also what it looked like yesterday when the ride just disappeared on me. So I guess we're going to hit the pause button here. Bring up the save dialog. We're going to save it. Here's the summary information, 24.9 miles, 12.9 average. I stopped a lot to take videos, so, that's it, whatever. It's March. Not really worried about that. Ascent and descent can't possibly be correct. I would guess that's about a quarter of what I did, but I guess Garmin or Strava will tell me for sure, assuming this uploads and I actually get elevation. Hit that button. We'll leave that the way it is. We'll hit upload. We'll hope for the Hammerhead logo up here. I am connected to Wi-Fi. I think I'm connected to Wi-Fi. So things don't appear to be happening. Oh, there it is. Have patience, have patience. So activity uploaded to Strava successfully. Not going to check my phone here in the driveway because it's just awkward with the camera trying to hold the GoPro and hold a big, phablet style phone. So probably what I'll do is go inside, get myself cleaned up, and maybe since these two interstitial videos, I guess, were relatively short, I will fire up Golden Cheetah or Strava and we'll compare the data quickly, hopefully quickly. So hopefully 2 shorter videos today to make it a little easier to watch. But if you've gotten this far, again, thanks for watching. Hi folks, trying this again with the voiceover. So this is the summary page from the Karoo through Strava. You can see the distance there, the average power, speed, heart rate, all that stuff looks relatively normal. I'm going to flip to the other screenshot in a second, but the Garmin reported about 7/10 of a mile less. The average power was within 4 watts, the weighted average power. Heart rate and everything else was all good. Everything was in, 1 or 2 data points, I guess, or 1 or 2 points, whether it's cadence, watts, whatever. Super, super close, once uploaded to Strava. The weird thing, I guess, at least from my perspective, is that I still think 7/10 of a mile is weird, a lot to be off, and I'm not sure if that's a result of the Garmin is auto-calculating wheel circumference, correlating the wheel spin from the sensor to the actual GPS distance traveled. I don't know if the Karoo does that or not. You have to put in a specific wheel circumference for the Karoo, which I thought I did correctly, but it's possible I'm still off by a little bit. But anyways, once I flipped over to the Garmin summary from Strava, you'll see the weird part is that the Karoo on the actual activities summary page. So when you bring up just activities, so Strava reported 923 feet of elevation. The little short summary that the Karoo gives reported 594 feet of elevation. So 350 feet or so. I'm doing the math quickly in my head and it's probably wrong. If you actually touch the ride or tap on the ride and review it, then the climb changes again to 184 feet. So it goes from 923 feet to 594 feet to 184 feet. So clearly how it's doing this is weird and I guess unknown. It would be interesting if they would just kind of tell us how they're doing it, or maybe describe, in a little bit more detail about what's going wrong. But anyways, I'm going to pause for a second and I'm going to bring up Golden Cheetah here and we can look at some of the stats in more detail. All right, so here's the last, we'll just go through some of these screens fairly quickly and I'll try to make it fairly brief. So again, what I did was the Karoo ride is in purple, the Garmin ride is in blue. These totals are pretty close. Again, almost 3/4 of a mile off right here for that distance. Seems strange. Then again in here now, this is reporting yet again different numbers for elevation than either Strava than Strava did for either ride. And there's only a 58-foot difference here where there was, I think, close to 100 feet in the other one. Tri-score X power is apparently normalized power. They're not allowed to use normalized power because that's something that Training Peaks, I believe, has a copyright on. So that's normalized power, close enough. Intensity is real close, so that's good. I don't know what TRIMP is where I read it and I've forgotten. Again, slight differences here in average speed. So Strava reported 16 for the Karoo ride. This says 16.2. I'm not sure why the average power is off, but 30 is a lot. Like, that's a lot. Strava was much closer than that. It was only off by a watt or two, I think. So I'm not sure if Golden Cheetah is putting zeros in or if the Karoo is putting zeros in. Heart rate seems close enough. The maximums are all very close or exactly equal, so that's good news. Power zones, again, I guess I need to check this because it does seem weird. I'm not sure why active recovery on the Karoo is so much higher than on the Garmin.
And actually the Garmin almost seems like it's missing time here, which I don't understand. So some of these things, it's possible that I'm just not understanding how Golden Cheetah works and what it's trying to tell me, and I haven't added up all this time, but actually just eyeballing it, the time on the Karoo actually looks correct and the time on the Garmin looks low. So I don't know if the time the Garmin drops zeros in this case for when you're not pedaling at all. I really don't understand some of these numbers. Maybe the range is different. I guess I need to check my profiles in both places and make sure I have FTP and all that set correctly. I think I might have been off by 5 watts in one or the other, but it doesn't seem like it should make that much of a difference. Heart rate zones again seem, well, these are definitely weird. And again, the number of, if you add up all these times, the number for the Karoo seems much higher than the number for the Garmin. It's 8 extra minutes here. There's 12 extra or 12 missing minutes here, 9 missing minutes there, a missing minute here. This is only 7 seconds. It really should be that they should do something with that display. But anyways, the details, there's nothing really there. It gets a little more interesting here, and I think I misread this chart the last time we looked at one of these, but again, the Karoo is in purple, and this chart is listed as heart rate on the side. It's hard to read, but it's over here, and it says heart rate, and I'm almost wondering if it's calling it heart rate, but it's not really, because, well, it makes sense. It actually makes sense. So in this case, it looks like the Karoo is doing a better job. I don't know why the heart rate would be dropping to 0 on the Garmin. These are definitely, I'm pretty sure correlate with moments that I paused. And so if you kind of were to follow along in the video, or if I had recorded the whole ride, these dropouts here, I believe, I'm not sure about this one, but these first 3 are definitely when I stopped. And if you watch I guess you would have to watch the other video that I did on routing, but I stopped to kind of describe on several occasions what was going on with the routing, and these all, except for this one, these all seem to correlate with that. So in that case, for some reason, it looks like the Garmin just dropped the heart rate completely. But I'm almost wondering if this is cadence, like that somehow cadence is being overlaid with heart rate. It's very, very strange. And I can't figure out, if somebody actually watches this and knows how I can do this, I would actually appreciate it. But it looks like, so these charts are much better this time, with the exception of this weirdness on this one called heart rate. But they're offset by a little bit, and I think it has to do with when I started and stopped the devices. So there's kind of this weird, almost 3D effect to these charts, because they're just offset. But in general, the highs and the lows and the valleys look much better. Again, this is cadence, and this is what I reported in the last time I showed Golden Cheetah, but I don't understand all these spikes. I definitely don't understand all these spikes. These other charts, I think I haven't gone through all of these, but these all, if I remember correctly, looked the same. Some of these don't show very well in comparison. Power, there's just some different highs and lows on the power, so I don't know what that actually indicates. Again, heart rate, it's weird. I don't know why the Karoo reports a much higher heart rate, or much higher time in, I guess this is time in heart rate zones? Yeah, it's time over here and heart rate over here. So I don't know, if anybody knows how to read these charts better than I do, then maybe you'll get more information than I'm getting out of them. But these are all the charts. So, and there's a whole bunch of detail in here, although I don't think this shows correctly when you're actually comparing the rides. It doesn't, I don't think, I can't tell which ride is which in here. So anyways, that's the quick summary of ride number 5. If I didn't say it earlier, I did get a map this time, or a track. I don't know what the difference was. I was following a route this time because of the other video that I mentioned, where I went into detail about how to set up and ride a route, and kind of showing what happens when you do that. So if anybody has any feedback on what I'm looking at in Golden Cheetah, and if I'm misrepresenting or misunderstanding what some of these charts are, but in general the data is pretty good. Again, it's odd that the distance is off by so much, or seemingly off by so much for such a short ride. And then there's just a couple other little things, but otherwise better. And I don't have any explanation for why this was better than Ride 4, because it's the same software version. So if you've gotten this far, thanks for watching.